Now, it's basically a meme at this point that games journalists hate playing games. But this article was so amazing that I couldn't actually help but share it with you. You see, this is about a games journalist who spends all of their time playing MMOs, but absolutely despises the fundamental mechanics and everything to do with MMOs. It's an amazing read. Yes, this says, I'm only a few hours into New World, but the grind is already frustrating. I'm still waiting for that new MMO excitement. Now, the reason she can't get that new MMO excitement is because Sarah spends most of her time immersed in MMOs. And things tend to stop being new when you do them all the time. That's part of life. I'd hate to break it to you. You start with a sword and shield, and she finds the combat clunky. Your dodge ability just doesn't seem to be particularly effective. That's probably because you're not using it correctly. Now, she'd rather be a range class, which is fair enough, and she was relieved to find a bow. But she found out she'd need arrows to use it. Now, there are, of course, methods in the game to just make as many arrows as you want. It's not that difficult, and everyone else finds it perfectly capable of just spamming thousands of the things out at each other. Not our Sarah, though. No, I abandoned the idea of using a bow purely because of keeping track of the arrows seemed like a huge pain, yes. We've all experienced that horrible time where you have to watch a number tick down, and when that number hits a certain other number, you go and craft more arrows. I know it's complicated, I know it's hard, but this is a games journalist we're talking about, so we'll have to make do with that. Now, she wanted to use a fire staff instead, but of course she found out that she'd need material to craft the fire staff, so she gave up. Are you sensing a pattern here? I hope you are. Now, after she's already given up with literally every challenge she's ever met so far, she decides that she's going to go off and quest. But enemies spawn with frightening regularity, and searching for quest items in highly populated areas by enemies means a lot of work. A lot of work. Killing enemies in an MMO, which they give you XP, which levels you, otherwise known as the pissing game. Oh my god, at this point, I'm like, I can't believe what I'm reading. She spends her entire time immersed in MMOs, but killing an enemy in it is just too much work for her. I mean, she is a game journalist, and playing games is literally her pissing job. But doing that's too tough, that's too tough. Says it's too much work, especially if other players aren't there to help me thin them out. Because why would you play a game when you can get boosted by everyone else? This is so far a weird read. Now, one quest required her to go and kill and loot an enemy, and she had to kill at least 3 or 4 enemies to reach the target. Previously on Gaming with Geeks, enemies spawn with frightening regularity. We're not talking about slashing 10,000 people to get to the next level. No, we are talking that she can't be bothered to kill 3 enemies for a quest. I hate to break it to you, love, but I have a feeling that MMOs aren't for you. Just a wacky idea. Maybe you'd have fun doing something else. I probably can't say the joke that I've just thought of. Now, 3 enemies apparently was far too difficult for her, so she died. And when the same thing happened the next time, she learned her lesson and she ran away, because running away from her problems is clearly the best solution. So she grouped up with another player, and then they both died. Yeah, I mean, I could understand why you're finding that dodge difficult now, because shooting people and even running away seems like a complicated event, but here we are. Now, frustrated, she abandoned the quest and headed back to town. And that's where she found a fire staff in her bag, randomly. I don't know, but she was excited and she went to equip it, only to discover that she had to be level 13. As all MMOs do, as every MMO I have ever played does, they give you gear above your level. Why? To give you something to work for. Give you something to celebrate. When you hit that level target, now you get a nice upgrade. It's already waiting for you, and it just pushes you forward. It's a reward, and it's satisfying. Not for our Sarah, no. I mean, she was level 11, and she thought she could do this, but she was hugely resentful that the game was forcing her to grind levels just to equip a weapon. Everyone else in the entire MMO industry realizes that it's satisfying, that it's a reward, that this is just something that happens. It's part of an MMO. Of course you get gear, and as you get gear, you level up, and when you hit the level, you can use it. It's called delayed gratification. It's something you should do, but no. Apparently some people need it now. They need everything now, and they need not to work for it. Just get given it, that's fine. I can't even be bothered to go up 2 levels. I mean, literally, the earlier paragraph, 2 sentences before, she said, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. I can do this. And then the 2 sentences later, I was very resentful of the game grinding levels. Can't even keep your story straight for 2 levels. This is literally where we've come to. Not only do I need everything now, but I can't have a coherent thought that actually stays together for 2 sentences without contradicting myself. So instead, she decided that she couldn't be bothered to go and kill things. Oh my, I'm not going to go and kill things because killing 3 enemies is too difficult for me. Maybe I can do some fetch quests. And then she realized that, no, I can do some gathering and crafting quests. I can kill 20 boars. That seems pretty chill. And that seems to be where she gave up. I mean, the game does level to 60. And you need progressively more XP as you go through it. But hey, who knows? Maybe just the early leveling process is too difficult. Maybe 3 beginner enemies is just too tough for anyone. Maybe the dodge is broken. And actually, Sarah here is the best person in the world at MMOs. Because after all, she does spend her entire time immersed in them. She should know quite a bit about them. And so while she admits that I've barely brushed the surface of what an MMO has to offer, I just didn't expect to have to do so much so early on in order to unlock a playstyle I might enjoy. Because God forbid anything requires any work. Or, as I prefer to call it, God forbid a game actually requires you to play it. For someone that's immersed in MMOs, you should understand that killing things, leveling up, and doing quests is the fundamental game loop of the entire game. If you don't like that, don't do it. If you don't want to put the hours into an MMO, don't play them. They are a very specific niche game which requires all of those things. And for someone who apparently spends their time immersed in them, you should understand that. You should understand that killing 3 enemies isn't that difficult, that killing 20 boars probably isn't something that's going to get you to level 60. And that actually, when you get gear and you really want to level up in power, you're going to make you level up. Because otherwise, they'd give you a weapon that was too overpowered for your level. And that would leave you either overpowered then, or they'd be giving you constantly trash gear that the moment you leveled up would be completely useless. Which is why they give it you in advance, so you could stay at a steady power level. Anyone that's played MMOs understands this. This is the fundamental part of the game. And yet our games journalist, our mighty games journalist who does this professionally for a living, just can't stand playing the game. Just can't stand putting any work in. Can't stand even doing 2 levels or 1 single quest. It's too much work. I want it now. This is someone that hates the very bare bones, the very fundamental principles of playing her own chosen niche of game. This could really only happen to a games journalist. Well, that's it from me. If you like the video, press like and subscribe for more videos in the future. And let me know what you thought of the article, PC Gamer and Amazon's New World down below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.